Back in the legacy 911 days, if a PSAP needed to transfer a call, the call taker typically reached for something called a selective transfer button. That was a hit-or-miss method that often relied on preset logic and a touch of hope. Today, Next Generation 911's policy routing function, or PRF, rewrites the playbook with dynamic rules, real-time awareness, and smarter call distribution. Let's talk about how we go from guesswork to precision routing on this episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletcher, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for the latest updates in Next Generation 911. This is Fletcher. I'm a NENA certified ENP, and 3 times each week I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes a bit controversial takes on emergency communications. Today we'll be taking a deep dive into the differences between how we used to transfer calls and how Next Generation 911 is changing the game with something called the Policy Routing Function, or PRF. Let's start with the basics. In the world of legacy E911, selective transfers were the Cadillac of call transfer features, except it kind of drove like a Pinto. Here's how it worked. When a dispatcher needed to transfer a 911 call to another agency, say fire, EMS, or a local municipality, they'd typically hit a soft key on their console. That button corresponded to a specific pre-programmed number that was based on the caller's location, something that was pulled from the automatic number identification or ANI record associated with a specific ALI, automatic location information, database. Now, this method worked most of the time, but if the data was stale, too bad. If boundaries had changed, well, hope you guessed right. And if the call involved VoIP or mobile calls, well, good luck, because that data often wasn't there. Enter the Next Generation 911 Policy Routing Function, or PRF. In Next Generation 911, we don't rely on static routing tables anymore. Instead, we use the Policy Routing Function, and here's what it does. The PRF evaluates a series of dynamic, real-time rules that exist about the call. Where's the caller actually located right now? What type of emergency is it? Fire, medical, police, hazmat? What about the target PSAP? Is it currently functional or in a degraded state? And are there other PSAPs better positioned to take the call based on operational workload? The PRF uses all of this information to intelligently route or reroute that call for service, often in milliseconds. Now, this isn't just about the first time a call is routed. It also applies to call transfers. So if a dispatcher needs to escalate or redirect a call, there's no longer guessing. The system will use logic based on geospatial location, service boundaries, time of day routing, service availability, as well as the incident type. Think of it like Waze for 911 call transfers. It finds the fastest, smartest route based on what's happening right now, not what was entered into a spreadsheet 5 years ago. A great example, mutual aid in action. Let's say a call comes into a 911 center during a flood. That PSAP is overloaded and has reached partial failure. In the legacy world, well, transfers might still be attempted through a partially broken system or even manually routed. But with Next Generation 911's PRF, the system detects the outages and automatically redirects calls to a neighboring PSAP that's fully operational, or at least operational enough to take the call more efficiently. And if the call's for EMS, but the closest EMS district is under a mutual aid agreement, well, the PRF will route it to an appropriate agency using policy-based logic, even if it's across a county line, or a state for that matter. So policy automatically makes decisions or recommendations for decisions without human intervention, only verification. And this is what ensures redundancy, resiliency, and response accuracy, no matter what the situation, no matter what time of day, and no matter what is going on. That wraps up this episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. I hope today's episode was helpful, keeping you more informed, prepared, and one step ahead in Next Generation 911 and public safety, and how it impacts tomorrow's communications. If you found value in the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, or tell a colleague. It's your feedback that helps us reach more professionals just like you. Remember to visit 911tips.com, where you'll find a complete archive of our past episodes. And remember to follow me on social media at Fletch911. If you have any questions or topic suggestions, please let me know. Your ideas could be the focus of a future episode. That's it for today. Thanks again for listening, and if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. This is Fletch. I'll catch you next time, right here on TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.